Hey everyone, long time no see, but I'm back today to do my 2019 beauty favorites. I know I haven't been uploading as much as I would have liked to, but my schedule this semester is a lot less intense, so I'm hoping to kind of create some sort of regular schedule of uploads, but bear with me. So I'm just gonna get right into it. So the first primer that I loved this year and is pretty much a staple in my collection always, I will never be without this primer, is the Makeup Forever Mattifying Primer. If you have oily skin, this is the best primer. You need to try this. It's really, really mattifying. So if you have dry skin or even normal skin, you might not like it because it definitely is quite mattifying, but this is the one primer that I've used that makes my makeup last all day and like really controls oils. I notice such a huge difference when I use this versus when I don't, and it makes a world of a difference in terms of letting oil through and not breaking my makeup up. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. And the next one is actually, ironically, a glowy primer. It's a L'Oreal True Match Lumi Glotion. This year was the first year that I even delved into glowy anything besides like highlighters. But I really love this primer because it introduces a little bit of a glow to your skin, but it's not oily, it's not greasy, it just provides a nice illuminated base that's not too much. It just kind of makes your skin look healthy, and if you use a lot of matte products like I do, it kind of balances it out and makes you look less dead. In terms of foundation, I have three. The first being the Nars All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation. I use the shade Siberia. This is like my holy grail #1 foundation. Really good coverage, really lightweight, super long lasting. It will cost you your life and your soul, but you don't really need to use a lot. It's quite thin, and I would absolutely recommend this. It does what it says it does. It lasts a really long time, and it's not overly matte. There is a little bit of life to it. So it's honestly, in my book, absolutely perfect. The next one is, again, a foundation that I've been using, I think, for more than this year, but it has remained one of my favorites, and it's the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Foundation. I use the shade 100 because I'm deadly pale. But I know this is kind of a contentious foundation. A lot of people really hate it. I like it. I have really oily skin. It's quite thin. It's not super full coverage, but it's definitely buildable. And I find it has an almost blurring effect to your skin. It really just like almost airbrushes your skin in a way that I've never experienced with another foundation before. It's absolutely gorgeous. I probably wouldn't recommend this for dry skin, but if you have oily skin, check it out because it's really nice. And it's also not so expensive. It's $40 Canadian, so it's not drugstore price, but it's, I feel like, a fair middle of the range price when it comes to like higher end makeup. And another foundation that I discovered this year that I was really taken aback by and really impressed by, and it's the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation. A friend actually gave this to me because you can't really easily get Makeup Revolution in Canada, but she gifted this to me, and I tried it and I was absolutely blown away. It, first of all, is a perfect shade match for me. It's the shade F1. And similar to the Fenty foundation, it almost blurs your skin and it lasts a really long time. It blends so beautifully. It's medium coverage, but definitely buildable. And I have absolutely been loving this. I would highly recommend this. And I feel like It's not drying. It's definitely like a natural finish. It's, to me, not overly matte, but maybe if you're used to really dewy foundations, you might consider this pretty matte. But I think it's could be translatable to, again, a lot of different skin types because it's not overly drying, but it does last a while, and I would recommend this. Again, 10 on 10, absolutely. Not surprising considering this is a favorites video. For concealer, the first product that I want to talk about I actually don't have because I finished it and I threw it away, and then I realized that I should probably have kept it because I was going to film this video, but it's the Too Faced Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. I used the shade Swan, which was a little yellow for me. I haven't tried their extended shade range of lighter shades, which I hope to do soon, but it's like, if I only had that concealer for the rest of my life, I honestly wouldn't even be that upset. It's like the concealer to end all concealers. It's so perfect. It's really, really full coverage, but it blends out like nothing I've ever experienced. It just blends into your skin. Like, it's really full coverage, but it's like, doesn't even look like you're wearing a super full coverage concealer. It takes like no effort to blend. You just blend it out and it's absolute perfection. It lasts such a long time. It doesn't break up or get weird. It's like literally perfect. If you haven't tried it, you actually need to. Like, very few things I think are like things that you need to have, but that concealer is one of them. And the next other concealer that I've loved this year, and also just in general, it's another one that I think I would not be upset if I only had it, and I honestly never want to not have this in my collection. It's the Nars Soft Matte Complete Concealer. Again, Nars is like soul-crushingly expensive, but this, I think, is one of the things that is 100% worth it. It's in a little pot, but it's not dry or difficult to blend. It's super creamy, super easy to blend, super quick because I just use my fingers and I just dot it everywhere. It doesn't take like time to blend. It basically just blends itself, and it's really good for spot concealing in really tiny areas, or good for like large areas of the face. Today I'm wearing this everywhere, under my eyes, on my blemishes, like literally all over my face. And it's so quick, so easy. You can like cut your crease with it. It's so versatile and so beautiful. And I think honestly, if I ran out of this, I would immediately go and repurchase it. It's so, so good. And I use the shade, I believe it's called Chantilly or Chantilly. I don't know. I think it's Chantilly, but it's a lighter shade in the Nars concealer range. For powder, again, maybe this is a little redundant, so I won't spend too much time on this. The first powder, again, I've loved for a long, long time, but it was pretty much the only loose powder I used this year. It's the Maybelline Loose Finishing Powder. I used the shade 05 Fair. Beautiful. I bake with this. It, again, has an almost blurring effect. Like, it really, like, basically erases your pores, but it's not, it doesn't make you look cakey. It lasts really well. It doesn't, like, break up throughout the day. It's pretty much just perfect. It's so beautiful, and it's really, really affordable. I think it's like $8 Canadian or something, which is like basically unheard of. Quickly, I just want to mention the Rimmel Stay Matte Powder. This is what I use all over my face. It's been a long time favorite. Again, I don't think that I'll ever even like try higher end powders. I don't feel the need to stray from this. It locks my makeup in. It doesn't look powdery. It lasts really well throughout the day. It's inexpensive. The packaging is horrifically bad. I don't know how many of these have broken on me, but if you're looking for a pressed powder that's affordable, I love that. And then Something that came into my life in 2019 that quite surprised me is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer and Reserve Your Cabana. This is also kind of a contentious product. A lot of people really hate this, but I like this. I think it does essentially the exact same thing that the Hourglass powders do, with the caveat that obviously this comes in one shade. It's gonna work for Caucasians and that's pretty much it, which is quite unfortunate. But if you have been wanting to try the Hourglass powders, but you don't want to drop fucking 60 bucks on a like finishing powder, I would recommend trying this. It has just the same like light luminous glow from within type of deal that the Hourglass powders have. It's really finely milled. It doesn't look like powdery or anything, and I actually use this all over my face because I use a lot of powders on my face, and I find that it just sets my makeup while also bringing a bit of luminosity and life back to it. It's really thin. It doesn't look like you're adding another layer of powder to your face. And I really like this. If you're going to use it as a highlighter on your cheeks, I think maybe you might be disappointed because it is like really subtle. So if you were buying it for that, I would just say don't do that. But as a setting or finishing powder, I really actually quite enjoy that. So for bronzer, there's one new one that I've been using a ton, and then one that's an old favorite that I have to mention because it was a favorite in 2019. The new bronzer that I've been using a lot is the Fenty Beauty Sun Stalk'r bronzer in the shade Into Sun. Literally everyone has been talking about these bronzers, and for really good reason. This shade in particular is perfect if you have super fair skin. It's almost neutral toned where there's not really a lot of orange, there's not a lot of yellow. It just adds a little bit of color to your face. It's not overly pigmented. You don't have to worry about having a heavy hand, which I often do with bronzers. But it's not difficult to build up. Really finely milled, super easy to blend. I don't ever have issues with patchiness or blotchiness. It lasts well, it doesn't fade. It's basically everything that you could want in a bronzer. And the other bronzer that I've been using is the obviously Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I don't really feel like I need to talk a lot about this. It's beautiful. I love it. I use it all the time. It's a favorite. It's been a favorite. And that's all that I really have to say about that, to be honest. I just thought I would mention it. In terms of brows, I've delved back into brow pencils this year. For a long time I was using brow pomades. I wanted to change it up a bit, and I discovered the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. Way back, long ago, I used the Anastasia Brow Wiz. Loved it. I think I used up a couple, and then I switched to pomade. So I haven't used brow pencils in a while, but this is like basically an exact dupe of the ABH one, and it's so good. I personally use the shade Ash Brown. I find that the shade range is good, but I'm kind of an in-between shade that doesn't exist. So this I find is not too deep for me. I maybe could use a little bit of a lighter, warmer shade, but it's fine. In terms of the actual formula of the pencil, I don't find that it's too pigmented or too creamy. I think it's a little bit waxy, which in my opinion is preferable for a brow pencil, but it's also easy to blend out. You can kind of make mistakes and remedy them without much of a problem, and it's half the price of the ABH one and a lot of other higher end skinny brow pencils on the market. I really like this. It lasts a long time, and I definitely recommend this. The only thing is that I do go through them pretty quickly. I find I have to repurchase them every couple of months, but it is less expensive, so I don't know. I have been enjoying it. For brow gel, I actually don't have that either. Again, I used it up and just threw it away without thinking because I'm an idiot. but it's the Maybelline Brow Precise Fiber Volumizer. I hope they didn't discontinue this because I looked in stores recently and I couldn't see it, but I don't know. I hope that it was just that pharmacy, but it's such a good brow gel that no one talks about. It's beautiful. It holds your brows in place all day. It doesn't like let them fall or like disappear essentially. It has, as the name would suggest, little fibers that hold onto your brow hairs and make them look a little bit fuller. It's perfect. It's beautiful. I really, really love it. And I think more people need to talk about it because it's really, really, really good. So sorry this is in a bit of a weird order, but I'm going to talk about highlighters now. I have a few here because I, like literally everyone else, I'm obsessed with highlighters, but there have been a few that have stood out to me this year. The first, I don't think I've talked about this on my channel, I don't believe so, but it's the Benefit Cookie Highlighter. I will admit I fell victim to the hype on Jaclyn Hill's Instagram stories and I think she talked about this in a video, and I have to say, she knows what she's talking about. It's really, really beautiful. If you don't like a really intense highlighter, you will not like this, but if you like a really intense highlighter, then this is definitely this is definitely something worth checking out. I have it on my face today. To me, it looks pink, like pink toned in the pan, but I think that's just because of the packaging. It's actually like a pretty neutral, like, oh, I swatched that over, took the other highlighter, neutral champagne tone, just so you can kind of, I don't know if you can see that. It's really, really reflective. It's actually quite a thin formula, which I tend to prefer. It's easy to blend into the skin for how intense it is. I find it doesn't leave a stripe, like you can kind of blend it out and it looks definitely not natural, but it doesn't always look like a stripe on your face, which I am really, really. The next highlighter is quite expensive. I've talked about this in my top favorite highlighter videos, but it's the Natasha Denona Super Glow Highlighter in the shade 01 Fair. This, in my opinion, is really quite special. It's a really true champagne shade. It just makes you look so glowy, and it's not like other highlighters. I don't know how to describe it, but it's really glowy, but it just in such a beautiful, angelic way. It's really, really nice. It's not super thick. It's not one of the thickest highlighters that I've ever used, but it's not like a thin formula like the Benefit one. It's not quite as like in your face bright right off the bat. It's this, you can't fucking see that, but it's the middle one. It's not quite as bright and in your face immediately as the like Benefit one, for example, but it can be built up and it looks just like you're glowing from within, but also a little bit more than that. Amy loves makeup. I absolutely adore her, but she wears this all the time, and that's kind of what inspired me to buy this. And yeah, I have been thoroughly enjoying that. Again, the next highlighter I've already talked about, but it's the Pixi Glowy Gossamer Duo in the shade Delicate Dew. This is a really thin formula. It reminds me of the Cookie highlighter. This is the shades mixed together, but it's a beautiful pink toned highlighter that's just super in your face as well. The two shades mixed together are a bit too deep for me, but this lighter pink shade right here is everything I've ever wanted and needed in a highlighter. It's almost like a gel formula. It's super bright, really intense, but it's again thinner, so I find that it's easier to kind of blend in, and it doesn't quite look like you just have a stripe of highlighter on your face. Yeah, I would really, really recommend this color if you're into pink highlighters, but also just this formula because it's really, really nice. I'm going to quickly mention the ABH and Omrizi highlighter because I've loved it this year. I use it all the time. but there's no need for me to talk about it more because everyone knows it's amazing and everyone also knows that you can't get it anymore. So we're just gonna move right along. And then I'm going to include this product in the highlighter category, even though I don't technically use it as a highlighter, but whatever. It's the Fenty Beauty Diamond Balm Highlighter and How Many Carats. I haven't tried their new color, their pinky one, but this one is stunning. And like I said, I will use this on the tops of my cheekbones sometimes, but I don't like to use it as an actual like highlighter by itself because I find that the glitters will just migrate all over my face throughout the day. But this, I pretty much use this every day as like an eyeshadow topper. I just take a little bit and dab it on my eyes, and it just adds a little bit of sparkle that's not in your face, but if you go into like dimmer lighting or direct sunlight or something, it just sparkles in a way that is so magical that it just makes me feel things. I just love it. I love it. And I think it's a really, really unique product and something that I haven't come across ever before. Now for blush, this is one of my the categories that I'm like most excited about. I've discovered a ton of amazing blushes this year. The first, I think this product is probably one of, if not my top favorite products full stop of 2019. I absolutely adore this. It's the Likely Makeup Clown Blush Palette. This brand is owned and created by It's Likely Makeup Jordy from It's Likely Makeup here on Instagram/YouTube. I'm so proud of her. I'm so happy for her. I absolutely adore her. She's one of my biggest makeup inspirations, and this product is stunning. It has all like the most beautiful blush shades that you could ever want or need. And the formula is like the best blush formula I've ever used. They're all incredibly pigmented. Like if you just look at this, like they're really, really pigmented, but they're not patchy or difficult to blend. They blend amazingly well on the skin for how pigmented they are. Like they literally feel and look like eyeshadows when you swatch them, but they blend so beautifully, and because of that they're a bit thin, so you can lightly wear them and it looks like just a normal blush color, or you can build it up to be a bit more intense. They're beautiful. It's like the best blush formula I've ever used, as I already said. And again, if I only had this blush palette to use for the rest of my life, I honestly wouldn't be that mad because it's so beautiful. I'm wearing this Carousel, this pink purpley shade today, and it's quickly become like my favorite pink blush shade, and I love pink blush, so that's saying a lot. Highly recommend that. Highly recommend. The next blush is the Cover FX Monochromatic Blush Duo in the shade Pink Dahlia. This is stunning. It's a bit of a more warm toned pink than I normally go for. Normally I really, really like more blue based pink blushes, but this is stunning. Again, it's really, really easy to blend. It lasts really well. It's beautiful. It's not overly pigmented, but it's not nothing. So you can wear it really lightly or build it up and it looks beautiful. I just tend to mix these two. I actually put the matte shade down first and then I go over top with the pink, with the shimmer. I really like that these are separated. I think it's really versatile. The pink shimmer, why do I keep saying pink? The shimmery shade is pigmented enough that you could wear it on its own. So if you want to just have a super glowy blush day, you can, or you can kind of like customize your blush. I don't know. I just really, really love this product. I also quickly want to mention the Burt's Bees blush in the shade Shy Pink. I've really been loving pink blush this year, if you can't tell. It's a really nice bubblegum pink that's not super, super bright, but it just kind of warms up and brightens up your complexion, makes you look a little bit more awake. And I would really recommend the Burt's Bees blushes in general. I have the shade Toasted Cinnamon. I do like that, but overall this shade has definitely been a top favorite. I have also loved all of the Kathleen Lights and ColourPop blushes that she came out with in the summertime. I love them all. This shade, the packaging or the name isn't on the packaging, so I can't quite remember the names, but this orange shimmery blush is so nice and super, super unique. I really, really love that one. This bright, like, coral shade is stunning. It's so beautiful. Again, really unique. They all have a little bit of a sheen to them. They're not necessarily like glowy, but they're a little sheeny, so they give a little bit of life to your face, but it's not like you're wearing a highlighter on your cheeks. This shade I absolutely love. I love wearing this with blue and green eyeshadow because it's something, but it's not too in your face. It literally goes with any makeup look. It's really, really beautiful. And then this mauve shade is like, I didn't know that I ever needed this blush shade until I have it, or until I acquired it, and I used the absolute shite out of these blushes this year, so I definitely need to give them a shout out. Now, for eyeshadow. This year has been the year of eyeshadow for me. I kind of not fell out of love, but I wasn't super like inspired by eyeshadow in 2018, and then 2019 came around and I just dove headfirst into color and eye looks, and I really have been excited again by eyeshadow. So I'm excited to talk about these products. The number one brand of eyeshadow that really like jump-started the year for me has to be my Juvia's Place palettes. I have many. I don't have all of them. That's my one-day dream goal, but this is like, to me, the be-all end-all of eyeshadow formula. The mattes are so easy to blend. They're pigmented, but not overly pigmented where you can't blend them out, and they're patchy. The metallics are like the best metallic formula I've ever used, and I just cannot recommend Juvia's Place enough. They always have sales, so you can easily get these. They're already inexpensive, but you can always pretty much get these on sale. And like, I cannot express my love for Juvia's Place enough. Today I'm wearing the Douce palette on my eyes. This is so beautiful. Like, the color schemes are so inspiring, and they kind of have forced me to play with color in a way that I never did before, and forced me to kind of step out of my eyeshadow like comfort zone, and I just cannot say enough good things. My two favorites are definitely the Saharan, or my two favorites of this year, might I say. The Saharan, I got so much use out of this. If you like neutrals but want to kind of step out of that a little bit, I would really recommend this. And I also love the Nubian 2. This is something that I think if I lost, I would immediately repurchase this, because there's so many beautiful like staples in here that I just use all the time. This Kenya shade is like the deep brown that I reach for if I need a deep brown in one of my palettes, or I need a deepening shade. I pretty much always reach for that. This Egypt, this deep green, is like one of the best greens I've ever used. I love this Madagascar shade. It's just like, I love Juvia's Place shadows, and that definitely has been the number one brand / palettes that I've been using. In addition to that, I've also loved the ColourPop monochromatic palettes. Again, kind of not forced me to play with color, but got me inspired and have just been really fun to play around with. I have the Ooh La La palette, which is a beautiful pink palette. the Aha Honey palette, which I think is a really good yellow palette. I find that I need to add some shadows in to my looks when I use that, but it's really beautiful. The Main Squeeze palette has also been a favorite for me, and then I also have loved the It's My Pleasure palette. To me, this is like the best monochromatic palette. I wouldn't change anything about this. And I've really loved the ColourPop eyeshadow formula in general this year, but specifically the monochromatic palettes. I think it's like the best thing ColourPop ever did was release those. And of course I have to mention the Jackie Aina and ABH palette. It's so beautiful, probably one of the most beautiful, perfect, gorgeous, neutral-ish palettes that I have in my collection. I mean, ABH, their eyeshadow formula is one of the best. I mean, it's a little under Juvia's place for me, but it's still one of my favorite eyeshadow formulas. This palette has it all, really. You have your neutrals, you have your warm neutrals, but you also have pinks, purples, you have a little bit of green. It's so, to me, this is like eyeshadow perfection. I love this, and I really, really, really recommend going to get this. I also just love Jackie. I think she's created such a stunning, beautiful palette, and congrats. And last but not least, I have also adored the Melt Gemini palette. I've lusted after this palette for so long, and this year I finally saw it in Sephora, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get it. And I was not disappointed. This was my first dabble into Melt's eyeshadows, and I love them. This is like eyeshadow color scheme perfection to me. If I don't know what to do for my makeup on a particular day, or I just want to do like a neutral look, I will always reach for this palette. It has such beautiful warm mustardy shades, just fills my soul with happiness, and like the perfect mossy green shades. I'm not the biggest fan of their shimmer formula. I find that it's a little crumbly, a little hard to work with. Once you actually get them on your eyes, it's fine, but to me, their matte shadows is kind of where they stand out. Really, again, easy to blend, pigmented but not too pigmented, and I have already gotten a lot of use out of this with all of the palettes that I have, and I know that I will continue to do so. For like eyeshadow topper / extra things, I have mainly been loving on the Stila Glitter and Glow liquid eyeshadows, just like every other person on the internet, but I mean, I have to give them a shout out because I love them. I rarely use the actual applicator in them. I kind of usually take a brush and use them as like what they are, like an eyeshadow topper. My two favorite shades are Wanderlust and Kitten Karma. Wanderlust is the shade that I've used the most this year. I've gotten like a ton of use out of this. It's so beautiful, so unique. And then also Kitten Karma is like a really beautiful, just neutral champagne shade that I also get a ton of use out of. Excuse my disgusting hands, but I mean, there they are in all their glory. Super beautiful, glittery. It's a good way to get into glitter. I actually don't really like glitter, but for me, I will use these, and it adds just a little bit of extra sparkle. That's not difficult to use and easy to take off, doesn't get all over your face. By now, I think you know the deal with these products, but definitely recommend them. As well, I've also been using the Tarte Chrome Paint, specifically in the shade Sun Drenched. I mean, this is a little difficult to show you because it's kind of like a loose product, but it's like sunshine in a pot, basically. It's pretty thick and pretty creamy, but when you actually get it on your eyes, it's like nothing else. It's just a really, really beautiful, intense metallic gold, but with a little bit of like almost bright copper. It's a really, really unique shade, I think. And whenever I use this, it's just beautiful and warm and sunny and delicious. And if you like warm tone shadows, if you like gold shadows, you can't beat this. It's so, so nice. I love these Tarte Chrome paints. And then for waterline eyeliners, this year I discovered the ColourPop Creme Gel liners, and they've truly changed my life. They're really pigmented, really creamy, and they last so long. Like literally they last all day. And I thought truly that that was an impossible feat. Like I didn't actually believe that gel liners in your waterline could do that. I thought they were just going to disappear, but these are so good. I would really, really recommend them, and they have a ton of really fun shades. My top 3 favorites are definitely Puppy, which is a like bright orange, Boots, which is a bright pink. I'm wearing it today, although you probably can't tell, and then Venus, which is like a true like cherry red. So fun, so nice. And I also really love their black, which is Swerve. It's like my new favorite black liner. So to start off with lip liner, there have been 2 lip liners that have really stole my heart this year. The first being the Rimmel Lasting Finish Lip Liner in the shade Natural. You can see this is very well loved. Can you see? I don't know. But it's just the perfect like peachy nude shade. It's a little bit, here it is right here. It's a little bit hard. They're not really like super creamy lip liners, which I actually like more. I find that it's easier to get a little bit of a sharper, more defined lip line. So I just dropped that under my desk, so I'll just continue to talk about it. But as I said, it's a little bit of a harder lip liner, so it's easier to get a more clean, defined lip line, I find. It's really long wearing. It doesn't get like weird or fade away throughout the day, and it's like the perfect lip liner for any peachy nude lipstick that you have. It's really, really nice. And the next one is probably like I really, really am deeply in love with this product. It's the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade BFF, like BFF1. It's like the perfect lip liner shade. It's a basically slightly browny pink. It's this one here. It's the best color. I can't even emphasize enough how much I love this. It is a little creamier. I feel like the ColourPop Lippy Pencils are almost more akin to like a lipstick formula. They're quite creamy and quite soft. I don't mind that. I do prefer a bit of a harder pencil, but this color is truly unbeatable. Now, for lipsticks, glosses, etc., this has been a year of discovery for me in terms of lip gloss. I really hated lip gloss before, but I've begun to come around, and I've dabbled, and I'm kind of enjoying it. My main favorites are the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bombs. The shade Fussy in particular is like my perfect gloss. And this is the gloss to end all glosses for me. It's not overly pigmented, so you can wear this over top of a lipstick or lip liner, which I really don't do, but you can also wear it on its own, but it's not going to be like a really, really pigmented gloss. It's just a nice sheer wash of color, which is, it's perfect, it's beautiful, it's everything. Kind of a random hybrid formula that's like between a gloss and a lipstick is the Revlon Ultra HD Gel Lip Color in the shade Hot Sand. Alana Davison was talking about this, and I went and picked it up. I saw it in store, and it's one of those products that like isn't like a super vibrant shade, but I find myself reaching for it all the time. It's like just a really nice like peachy lipstick. It has like a almost glossy finish, but it's like a lipstick form. It's like a skinny lipstick. It's like a moisturizing lipstick balm hybrid type of deal. I really like this. It's easy to just have with you and just throw on. Speaking of lipsticks, I've also been loving the Maybelline matte lipstick in the shade Beige Babe. It's what I've been wearing a lot. It's what I'm wearing today. It's such a nice, just like matte lipstick formula. It's like my perfect nude. Essentially, it's again like a light pink with a hint of brown. I love these lipsticks. They last really well. They're matte, but they're not drying. I've also discovered the Nude Sticks lip and cheek pencil in the shade Whisper. This is similar, very similar actually to the Maybelline lipstick shade. It's maybe a little deeper, but I absolutely love this. It's a lipstick. It's basically like a traditional lipstick. It's quite creamy, but it lasts so well for like a creamy lipstick. It lasts. It doesn't, even if you eat a meal, I find it doesn't fade away right away. I've really been loving the Rimmel Stay Matte Liquid Matte Lip Colors. Not enough people talk about these, and I think they're really good. I specifically love the shades Raw Embrace, which is like a ultra super nude, and then the shade Firestarter, which is like the perfect true red shade. First off, I despise the smell. I think they smell disgusting, and I hate them. But the smell does go away, and I look past it because they're so nice. This nude shade is like a beautiful light nude. If you have really fair skin, it's nude, but it doesn't like wash me out. It's like the perfect amount of color. And this Firestarter shade is such a beautiful, true, like classic red. I wore this all throughout Christmas and the holidays, but they almost have a blurring effect to your lips. Like there are these two on the bottom. They're really smooth. I don't have issues with patchiness. They go on in basically one coat. They last well. They don't dry your lips out. They're just a really solid liquid lipstick formula from the drugstore, and they're actually quite affordable as well. So I really recommend these. Also, in terms of drugstore liquid lipsticks, I have recently discovered the Wet n Wild liquid catsuit lipsticks, and I am blown away. I'm so impressed by these. They last so well. It's like insane, but they have, again, such a smooth finish. It almost like blurs the lips. It's so nice. This shade is the shade Blood Bank. I believe this was limited edition for Halloween, but if you can find this, it's so nice. It's like a bright orangey red, which I actually don't normally gravitate towards, but this is like next level. It's so bright, it's so beautiful, and I have really fallen in love with this formula. It's one of the best liquid lipstick formulas that I've ever tried. Full stop. The last liquid lipstick formula that I have to talk about, it's been a favorite for a while. It's the Maybelline Super Stay Matte Ink Liquid Lipsticks. These will last you through literally anything. An apocalypse, sex, eating a burger, like no matter what you do, it will stay on your lips. It is a little bit sticky. I specifically love the shade Pioneer and the shade Seductress. Pioneer is a really bright, like cherry red shade, almost blue toned, and then Seductress is like a mid-toned warm brown. Specifically like this formula for bright shades. If I have somewhere to go and I want to have a bright lipstick on, I'll always pretty much reach for these because I know they're not going anywhere. Okay guys, that wraps up this video. I feel like I've been talking forever because I have been talking forever. If this is a long one, I really apologize, but I feel really, really passionately about all of these products, and I really fully, truly believe with all my being that if you try any of these out, you won't be disappointed by them. So yeah, that's all I have to say because I'm sure you're sick and tired of hearing me talk. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.